Okay, so welcome everyone to today's episode of People Who Inspire. And I'm excited for today's episode. I'm looking forward to very fruitful discussions and really getting to know my guest for today. And I do hope that today would be also a source of inspiration, the journey, the stories, the various milestones that my guests I would share with you would be a source of inspiration. So today we have in our midst a very special, very hardworking, very industrious, astute business lady, businesswoman who was going to share with us not just the business aspect of life, but also her personal journey and where she's been able to get to and what the future holds for her. So we have in our midst Akua Sefakor, and I'm excited, Akua, to have you on today's episode of People Who Inspire. How are you today?
I'm very fine. I'm excited.
Same here.
Yeah.
Awesome. And how's your weekend going? And how are you? How are the things at home?
So
This
as
pandemic.
usual, a mom, a wife, weekend is always tiresome, stressful. You have to fix the house before a new week begins. Otherwise, you'll be in trouble. So that's what I've been up to since morning.
I can imagine. I can imagine, especially like weekend chores and making sure that everything is fine at home and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really excited to have you today. So today, my viewers would be interested in getting to know not just what you do or what you stand for, but a little bit of the key milestones and the kind of behind the scenes activities that you have been involved in. I always say on this platform that a lot of the success stories that we hear, we watch, we listen to usually have a backstory, and this backstory, a lot of times is not shared, and people think that success just comes just overnight. I read somewhere that that 5 minutes of success usually takes 5 years of preparation. So today we are going to delve a bit more deeper into the behind the scenes and how you grew up, what it was like growing up, and to really understand where you are now and what you're doing. And then we'll look a bit more into the topic for today. So for the viewers today, we are going to talk about how to build multiple streams of income. But before we get to that topic, let's just get to know a little bit about Akua. So Akua, can you tell me where did you grow up? Where were you born? And where did you grow up basically?
Okay, so I was born in a very small village in the Volta region. On your way to Hohwe, you would find my hometown. It's called Logba, Alakweti to be precise.
Okay.
It's a market town, and so every 5 days, people come all the way from the surrounding villages to my place to trade. So that was where I was born. I was born to Mr. Agusa Jones, popularly known as Ojuku. And yeah,
I like that name.
it sounds like a Nigerian name, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's a fully Ghanaian name.
Wow.
My mom was a teenager when she gave birth to me, and so I was adopted by my grandmom. That's my mother's mom, and she took care of me. She's called Madame Victoria Satrana, but a lot of people refer to her as Aye. Aye in the Lugba dialect simply means my mom.
Oh,
So everybody calls her Aye. So Aye is my mom because she took me from my real mom just because she was a teenager so that she could go back to school. And then my grandmom took care of me. So a lot of people knew my grandmom to be my mom.
Okay.
And they knew me to be my grandmom's last born because my mom was the last born. So when she adopted me, people thought I was my grandmom's last born. And so till date, I call my mom Sister Ma, and I and I call my grandmom Aye. So when I turned 1 year old, my auntie, who is my mother's elder sister,
Mm-hmm.
adopted me. By then, she was a teacher at Tema, so she took me from the village at year 1 and brought me to Tema. So I started my life in Tema from age 1 until I got to around primary 6. Yeah, so
Mm.
at primary 6, I left Tema to my dad's place at Dunka Onofin.
Okay.
And
Wow.
yeah, so a whole lot happened, and
Mm.
my dad had to come for me. So I had to go stay with my dad at Dunka Onofin with my younger brother. And then I think I did up to JHS 2 at my dad's place. And then due to a lot of things, I had to
Yeah.
come back again to my grandmom's place at Logba. So I
Okay.
completed JHS at Logba, and
Mm-hmm.
then I took my SHS also at Logba.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
after my SHS, I had to move on to the university
Mm-hmm.
in Kumasi, the only
Okay.
university in Ghana,
Yeah,
KNUST.
university. Yeah, 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 yeah. This a reunion. Which hall were you
Yeah,
in?
Queen's Hall. I'm a
Queen's.
royal.
Okay, okay, okay. Awesome, awesome. Wow. And what did you study when you went to KNUST?
Okay, so political science, social,
Okay.
so
So yeah, that.
yeah, no, yenda. So I
Yeah.
read political science as my
Mm,
major, and I
mm,
read sociology as my minor. But
mm-hmm.
I borrowed management and entrepreneurship from School of Business.
Business. Okay.
Yeah, so
Wow. Wow.
that was my journey in
And
KNUST.
let me I mean usually for the past few episodes I've always had my guests telling me at some point they kind of had to live with someone, and I think that's really quite normal, either a family member or an uncle, an auntie. What important role has your grandmom played in your life? I mean, if you can just share, let's say, one major lesson or one major, let's say, lesson that you learned from her resilience. I mean, given the situation, she decided to step in, like you rightly said, to really, play that role of a mother in your life. Can you share with us, let's say, what important lesson you learned from that, gesture that she did?
Actually, my grandmom
Mm-hmm.
is she's my everything.
Mm,
Whatever I've grown to become today is kind courtesy my grandmom.
mm,
Um, Without her, I wouldn't have been who I am today. Back when I was growing up, I've always thought that she was too strict. I've always thought that she was too mean. But ever since I grew up, got
mm.
married, started my own family, there've not been a single day that I've not spoken about her. And
Wow.
anytime I talk about her, I get very emotional.
Mm.
And I always remember the things we've gone through, and I thank her for all the role that she has played in my life.
Mm.
Unfortunately, she died just after I got married, and
Oh, my
um,
condolences. Sorry.
I've always felt that pain because she's not around to see the woman I've grown to become.
Mm.
Um, when we talk of a best friend,
Mm-hmm.
I can say that my grandmom has been my best friend ever. I've
Wow.
never had any best friend aside her. We've gone through hunger. We've gone through being oversatisfied.
Exactly.
We've gone through pain together. I remember
Mm.
that when I was staying with my auntie,
Mm-hmm.
Prince. I remember that when I was staying with my auntie, there came a time that I had to leave my auntie's place and go back to my grandmom's place. And by then, I think I was in primary four,
Mm.
and that was, I think, second term. So she decided to rather move from the village and stay in
Wow.
the city so that I would be able to complete primary four
Mm.
before I leave the city, so that I
Mm.
wouldn't have to go and repeat the class.
Repeat. Yes, yes.
Yeah. And
Wow.
by then we had to stay at the soldiers bungalow, Michelle Camp,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
she had to take to farming. So she was farming onions,
Mm.
and we had to, because we didn't have a place to stay,
Mm.
we would have to stay on the farm
Wow.
until it's very late and the place is very dark, so that we can take our bath. And then after we are done taking our bath, we walk about 1 mile to her brother's place so
Mm.
that we could go and sleep. And I remember that when we get to that place and people are not yet asleep, we had to sleep in the hall.
Mm.
So everybody must go to bed.
Go to bed.
Then
Yeah.
we can now lay our bed in the hall and sleep. And there was this son of my grandfather, who is my grandma's uncle, brother,
Mm-hmm.
who I'm sure wasn't happy about the fact that we were patching.
Mm.
So he would intentionally stay up late and watch movies into really,
Mm.
really late. And my grandma would have to sit outside, and then I would have to lay my head on her, and then she would have to suck, like kill mosquitoes,
Mm.
till the guy is finally ready to go and sleep,
Cool.
and then she'll now take me to bed. And
Wow.
one of these times that we were walking from the farm to my grandfather's place to go and
Mm-hmm.
sleep, she was bitten by a snake.
What?
And I was young, I didn't know what to do. And
Wow.
it was a lonely road. Those who know Michelle Camp very well, we're walking from officers' quarters to ADB.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so it's a very lonely road. But that's very nice. By God's grace, one of the soldiers' vehicles were passing, and they carried her to the hospital. Unfortunately, they didn't have the medication to inject
Mm.
her to stop
The
the
venom.
the
Mm.
venom. So we were transferred to Ashaman General Hospital, and
Wow.
then she was treated. But unfortunately, we didn't have money to pay, so she didn't recover, and then we had to run from the hospital. Like, we didn't pay the bill, but we had to
Wow.
leave without people seeing that we left. And so my grandmom lived with the pain of the
Mm.
venom in her legs until she finally passed
Wow.
away. These are some of the few sacrifices she
Mm.
made for me so that I could be who I am today.
Wow.
And I've
Wow.
learned that no matter what, you would have to stand by your children.
Mm.
You would have to be firm.
Mm.
She loved me so much, but she wouldn't take any nonsense from you.
Mm-hmm.
She was very strict. I went to the SHS, and I never went for entertainment because she said the kind of things they do in there. She
Uh,
doesn't believe it, so you wouldn't
exactly.
go. A friend
Wow.
will visit you, and then that friend, as you are having your own conversations, she's sitting somewhere behaving as if she doesn't know what's going on. But trust me, she's paying
She knows
attention to
everything.
every detailed thing you are talking about. And as soon as your friend is leaving, she'll call your friend, please come.
Mhm.
You know what? Ever since you paid my daughter a visit for the past 1 hour, I listened
Mhm.
to all the conversation you had. I didn't hear any sensible thing. Please don't visit her again.
Oh my goodness.
And so I didn't have friends.
Hmm.
She was the only friend I had. And so till date, if I'm your friend, you would testify that I'm a terrible friend. I just don't know how to dress up and say I'm going to visit my friend, because I wasn't brought up that way.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think that it has helped me because I'm a very busy person. And so if I have to be visiting people, wasting time with people, I wouldn't have been able to achieve any of the things that I do achieve.
Wow, wow. I mean, this is really, and thanks really, Akua, for sharing that vulnerability with us and really understanding. And I personally believe that there are angels amongst us, like human
Yeah.
beings who have the heart of angels. Because for I've been doing this conversations with people for the past year, and each one of them, each one of my guests, has someone in their lives who had to sacrifice for them to be where they are. It's really amazing. For some of them, there was one who said it was his uncle, another said it was his auntie, some said it was their grandmother, their grandfather. There's always that person who stands by you, believes in you, and kind of pushes you to be the best you can. I think that the best lesson amongst all of these is that at the end of the day, we need to also pay it forward. Also need to be that pillar or source of inspiration, for someone else, so that other people can also get to fulfill their purpose through us. So thank you really for sharing this with us, and I'm sure that your grandmother, I mean, is watching you from heaven as we speak, and she's proud of the woman that definitely you've become. If we
And
fast, yeah.
Prince, when you talk of people investing into others, I would
Mm,
say that the best investment anyone can make on earth is to
mm.
invest into a human being.
Wow.
Because if you invest into any other thing, um, it's going to fade away anyway. Truth is, we human beings also die, so we do fade away. But
Mhm.
it's fulfilling to see that someone you've sacrificed for has made the best out of those sacrifices, and the person is living a life that is worth you pointing to, that I've been part of this person's success story. When it comes to my life, aside my grandmom, a lot
Mhm.
of people have made sacrifices for me.
Wow.
In my university journey, I wouldn't
Mhm.
have been able to complete that journey
I
without
was actually
people.
coming to that because that my next point was how was KNUST like for the 4 years? I mean, knowing very well, like you mentioned, the struggles. Like how was it like in general for you?
All right, so KNUST wasn't bad. I'm a sanguine, so
Yeah, and tell.
I I can feel comfortable anywhere I go. When it comes to finances, one thing my grandmom left with me is hard work.
Mm.
We were preparing chop bar together,
Mm-hmm.
so we sold food,
Mm.
and we sold food in late into the night. And that was how come I wrote my BC. I cook, send the food to the roadside, come back, sit under. By then there wasn't light in our house, there wasn't electricity.
Wow.
So I had to sit in front of a particular shop that had light, and then I would read my books. And then when people eat and the bowls are dirty, she would send for me to come and wash them. So I'll leave my books, go and wash the bowls, serve customers their food, and come back to learn.
Study.
And then late into the night, when we close, like sometimes we close as late as 11 p.m. to 12
Mm.
a.m. And that's when I'm going to bed, and then wake up and go back to school the next day.
Mm.
I tell people that there is nothing on earth I haven't sold before, from penny the penny ice water
Yes,
to
paying the
ice
penny, I
cream.
remember.
to ice cream, to oko, to um, bread rubber, to just name it. And I'll tell you that I've sold something before. And when we get to our main topic for today, you would see how that upbringing, which I saw as a struggle, has influenced the career that has made me who I am today. So when I was in KNUST, there were people helping me to pay my school fees. And this is where I would want to acknowledge another important person in my life.
Please go
That's
ahead.
that's a man that I knew from nowhere. I closed from school one day, and he was in a car with a friend, and he was like, "Schoolgirl, can you buy me water?" And I took the money to buy water. And when I came back with the water, he was like, "You are very serviceable. Who is your mom?" So I mentioned my grandmom's name, and then he was like, "Sit in the car. I want to get to know your mom." So we went home, and that was how it started. And the man
Wow.
was like, "I want this girl to be my daughter." So
Wow.
I I just wanted to be my daughter.
As
And
in you
this
didn't know him
man,
from anywhere. Like,
nowhere. I
wow.
just went on an errand for him coming back from school. And
Wow.
this man has made me his daughter till date. Truth is, if he should watch this interview, he'll be very offended because he made me swear an oath never to let this out for
Wow.
anybody to know that I'm not his biological daughter. And so even his own children know that I'm his biological daughter, including his
What?
family members and
Wow.
others.
Wow.
So this man, I remember when I was in the university, he used to pay my fees.
Wow.
And there was this vacation I paid him a visit, and we went to the bank. I would be going to school the next day, so I followed him to the bank, and then that was back in 2009 or
Mm.
2010, I think. So we went to the bank, and then he withdrew at that time 2,000 cedis and gave the money to me to take home. He was going to meet a friend. So when he gets back home, he's going to give me my fees, then I could go back to school. And I was like,
Wow.
okay. I got home and I went to put the money in the room. I came back outside to help his wife with cooking and stuff. And then my daddy got back home and he was like, "So, Safako, bring the money so that I can give you your fees and something for food." Prince, I went into the room and the money was nowhere to be found.
No way.
I tell you.
What?
Hmm. I searched everywhere in the room and the money was nowhere to be found. So date, if you ask me what happened to that money, I wouldn't have an answer for you. And
Wow.
and at that time, I've never seen even that kind of money before. I've not seen that amount of money before. And then this man was like, "You can't find the money. Okay, no problem. Don't worry, just go to bed. Tomorrow we'll see what we'll do." And
Wow.
the following day, this man went to the bank, got another money, gave to me as my school fees, and I went back to school.
Wow.
And
Look, I
that's
believe
one thing.
there are angels in this world, to be honest. Like,
True.
I don't
That's
even know
that's
what to say.
one thing I would never ever forget. Never.
Ah.
Because I'm sure that even my own father who gave birth to me wouldn't do that. Now that I'm grown up and I work for money,
Mm.
I don't think
You
if my
know what?
daughter should do something like that, I'll do the same thing the man did.
I know. I know. Wow.
Yeah, so it's true. We have angels on earth. We have people with good hearts. But I also think that it doesn't come just like that.
Yeah.
You have to you have to be that kind of person that people see a future in
Mm.
for them to be
Exactly.
willing to invest into you. When you have that kind of character that people see that you are worth their investments,
Mm.
people are willing to go the length and breadth of this earth to sacrifice the little they can to invest into you being whoever you should be before you die.
Wow. Wow. It's amazing. How how people, the essence, this is the essence of people who inspire. This is why I do what I do, because, when you don't know the backstory of people's successes, I'm sure a lot of the community members you have would watch this and will be like, wow, I never knew this. And
Yeah.
that's perspective, because they may be going through similar issues. They may be thinking that they are all alone in this world. They may be thinking that, who is my angel? Who is coming to help me? Right? It is possible, and these things happen. It's not like a movie script. And this story is like a movie script. Amazing. It's amazing. And he helped you go through KNUST. Now, what I'm interested in is that, based on your journey on KNUST campus, right? Were there instances where you knew you were going to be an entrepreneur? Of course, like you said, you've been selling and everything, but really this formalized approach to entrepreneurship, was there any hint of, okay, I'm going to establish this company or that company, or just what we call the Papa movement, or like what really was? Did you get any hints during KNUST times that you're going to be an entrepreneur?
Okay, so when I was in KNUST, I used to come to Accra to get electrical gadgets like rice cookers, blenders, burners, and then I'll take them back to Kumasi and supply to those who retail. And then by close of month, I should receive all my payments and come back to Accra and send it back. That's one
So
of the
you're doing that
advantages
as a
of,
student?
yeah.
Wow.
That's one of the advantages of being in social. So we don't just sleep.
Exactly. Exactly.
we have a lot of time on our
You make
sleeves,
money. You make money as well. You don't just sleep.
Yeah. So aside me doing that, in school, I taught in three different senior high schools in Kumasi. I taught in Sunshine, Garden City Senior High, and Ganami Senior High. So I
Wow.
was doing all this alongside being a student. And then I also taught some little children in their homes. Actually, it was in KNUST I got my first heartbreak, being sacked from a job.
Oh,
That was with Garden City Senior High. You remember that in President Kufuor's era, senior high school was 4 years.
yes.
So they hired extra teachers, and I was teaching government in Garden City Senior High. And then when change of government happened, it was changed to 3 years.
I
So
remember
they didn't need the extra
the extra.
teachers anymore. So I went to school one day, and a letter was just handed over to me that I was fired. And
Oh
I
boy.
I was like, I'm
No.
never ever going to get fired on a job without being prepared anymore. And it's one of the inspirations I've had in life. So anytime I get a new job, I start saving, because it has framed my mentality that working for a private person, you can get fired at any time. And so I shouldn't get fired and go broke without knowing what my next line of action should be. And that was where I got that inspiration from that heartbreak. And when I was down from that failure, I should say that was the lessons I picked, and it has really been of great help to me.
Wow.
Aside all these things I was doing in school, it helped me save a lot, because when I was in school, like I told you, my daddy was not the only person helping. So my uncle, who is my mother's elder brother, was also helping. So this one will give you small, this one will give you small, this one will give you small. But you knew that you didn't have anybody who you could hold responsible. They're not
Yes.
like your mother and your father, and you know that
Exactly.
whether they like it or not, they have to
You
give
have to
you money.
provide.
So you have to work for yourself. Every
Mm.
little money to me was a lot of money. And right from first year, after I attended um, Legacy and Legacy conference that was sponsored by Data Bank, and I got to learn about savings. I started saving. So I've been saving with Data Bank since 2008.
Wow.
And anytime I made money, I had to deposit my money. If friends, if you send me one CD today, the
Hmm.
first thing I do is I'm going to save some of that one CD before I
Wow.
spend.
Wow.
And so when I completed tech, I went through tech not as a rich person, but
Hmm.
I never lacked food.
Mm.
And I never lived an extravagant life. I didn't stay in a hostel. I rented an apartment. And
Oh, okay.
when I rented, I shared that apartment with someone. So I still had to split the amount that would have been paid for that apartment.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
I could save more with that. And in my home still, that was my apartment,
Yeah.
I was selling Sobolo, the drink, Sobolo drink.
Yep.
And
I also sold
eh,
some at some point.
so you realize that your past has a lot of things to do with your present.
Mm. Mm.
Your past has a lot of things to do with your present. So
Mm.
after KNUST, the kitchens electronics things I was selling to the people, the retailers, I established a shop at Accra La Paz selling kitchen stuff from rice
Oh,
cookers to blenders to plates, glass, things like that after
wow.
KNUST. Yeah. So that was
Wow.
my life on KNUST was purely business. In fact,
Business. Yeah, exactly.
if you take me to Katia and you
Mm-hmm.
leave me in the middle of Katia, just tell me that Sabina, take me to where I could get jewelries on wholesale. I'll just lead you straight to the part of the market where you get only jewelries.
Early
And then
jewelry.
tell me that take me to where I could get shoes. I'll just take
Mhm.
you straight to that spot. Tell me that I need where I'll get this. I know every part of Katia and Edum where you get wholesale of
Mm.
particular items. So I don't go to the market and buy from just any portion of the market.
Mm.
No,
Mm.
I'm ready to go to every corner to get every single thing at the
Wow.
very best price I could get it.
Wow. I mean that's really. I mean, if you're a student and you're watching, this should be a very profound, statement. As Sefakor just said, that it's not just about being in school and getting good grades, but I mean throughout her stay in KNUST, I mean I'm really impressed with the fact that you're able to juggle between your academics and doing all these businesses and all that. So after KNUST, what next? What happened? I mean, what was did you find a job? You told me you established a shop at La Paz. So can you walk us through between the KNUST and now? How did you get to where you are now after KNUST?
Hmm. All right. So after
In a summary,
KNUST,
of
yeah, after KNUST, I got married.
Mm.
Right. I became a teaching assistant after KNUST. So I stayed one extra year on
Oh,
campus.
okay, okay.
So right after my national service, I got married to another angel who has also played a
Wow,
major role in my life.
wow.
Thanks to my husband, someone who used to wait for people to go to bed before I could sleep. My
Mm.
husband married me into a two-bedroom house.
Wow, wow.
And I remember that when I was about completing my national service, I was asking
Mhm.
myself, where was I moving from? Like,
Yeah,
where
exactly.
was I going to? But he just came around and he was like, I want us to
Wow,
get married. And
wow,
we got married and I have a house.
wow,
The sad
wow.
part is my grandmom is not around for me to bring her to that
Oh,
house.
yeah.
So
Right. So
yeah,
good.
after KRST, I got married. Now, after
Okay.
getting married, I stayed for 3 years without a job.
Hmm.
And I told you about my shop, but
Yes.
the shop was upstairs, and it's very difficult for people to
Yes.
go
Yes.
upstairs, and
Hmm.
so sales were terrible.
Hmm.
And so eventually I had to close the shop down,
Hmm.
and I lived 3 years without a job. And you said a summary, so if we should go into that story, we are not finishing now. Yeah,
But at least you managed to survive for 3 years without a job. And knowing the kind of person you are, I know for sure that although you didn't have like a formal job, you were still doing other things. And for
exactly.
sure,
So
right?
I got pregnant after
Oh,
marriage.
okay. Okay.
I
Then
got pregnant after marriage, and then um there was this lady who started a school, a remedial school in my
okay.
area.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to her, spoke to her, and then I took up teaching from
Oh,
her.
okay.
And then I made good use of my freezer. I was selling ice block at home. And just yesterday, I was telling a young lady who just got married, who was facing a similar challenge, that during those years in my life, 100 cedis was a lot of money. The lady was paying me 100 cedis. And
Hmm.
I was so much always looking forward to getting that 100
That
cedis.
money.
And the coins I had from my ice block sales, those
Hmm.
that was the amount I used in fixing my hair and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I gave birth to my baby, and then she was preterm.
Ah,
So right from labor room, I had to start the journey of Kolebu and Niku.
wow.
And unfortunately, she died again.
Oh no.
That baby gave me my second heartbreak.
Sorry, sorry. I mean
I
this. Oh man.
I brought her home,
Hmm.
and my husband and I were were very excited that finally we have our baby home.
Yeah.
And then just the next day in the evening, that was 14th February, she
Oh,
passed away. It was like a movie, Prince. It just happened like pa-
just like
and
that.
just like that. I was breastfeeding her, and my baby just started um vomiting. And what's wrong? What's wrong? My baby turned yellow, bluish, and the baby is gone. And I
Ah,
had to start a whole new struggle of getting
yeah. Even the
pregnant
psychological.
again.
Oh, man.
I always, for some years, I
Mm-hmm.
always lived with a blame,
Mm,
feeling like I was the cause of her death, until I had to psych myself that
mm,
no, I did nothing wrong. I did my part. And it was difficult getting another. I remember that I was given some medication to
mm-hmm.
help me get pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and I nearly went blind. I took
What?
the medicine, and then I wake up and I can't see. So my husband had to say that I should stop taking the medicine.
Mm.
We reported to the doctor, and he was like, that was the side effect. And I was like,
What?
if I should give birth blind, how
Exactly.
can I take
Exactly.
care of my
What can you
child?
exactly? Oh, man.
It's okay. So my life has a lot of corners.
Wow. Wow. So why I'm happy you're sharing this because I've met people who like I've said earlier, who would just look at you on social media. They will just see that, okay, Nelvics Dialogues, they'll see, Nelvics Sobolo tea bag, whatever it is. They'll see you as a marketing manager for hospital. And then for people who are just standing afar, they're like, oh, this lady has it all. She's never, she seems to
Mm.
be but from what you are sharing with us, I mean, it shows the kind of strength and resilience that it takes, behind the scenes to put up a smile, right? Even in this conversation we are having, it takes that resilience, it takes that strength, and a lot of people will not, like, for example, when you said 3 years without a job, I knew for sure that it's not, knowing the kind of person you are, you will not just say, okay, 3 years without a job and you're just sitting there. There are reasons why there's that gap, right? And thanks for really sharing with us, what you went through. And if someone is watching, and just before we get into our topic for today, if someone is watching, and what would be your word of encouragement to someone who is currently struggling in a similar situation? What did you do to? You said you psyched yourself up, but what did you do? Or what can someone going through a similar thing do practically to be able to get out of that self-blame? After losing a child and everything of that sort. I mean, what can be done? Is it prayer? Is it family? What would you advise?
Your partner plays a major role, because my husband made things a lot easy.
Okay.
He Of course, we stay in the house, just the two of us alone. So his reaction to the situation plays a major role with my recovery. And he was there for me. He made me understand that it wasn't my fault, and even if we didn't get any new baby, just the two of us together is enough.
Wow.
And that's helped. But the major factor is for you to have the peace of God.
Wow.
So Jehovah is the only person that can console you. And so you have to turn to your scriptures. You have to rely on him. Of course, what you lost, he's the only person who can replace it.
Exactly.
And so I just have to be faith strong and be sure that he's going to reward you with another. And even if that doesn't happen, I know that everything in my life, I've come to learn that everything happens for a reason. So just learn to keep trusting in the process. At the end of the day, you would understand the reason why everything happened.
Wow. And thanks for this words of encouragement. I'm very much inspired, really, and looking at the fact that now people, you're serving as a source of inspiration for people. Now let's get into the topic. So you've shared with us this very interesting, very encouraging, journey. Your whole journey is a journey of resilience, journey of strength, courage, faith. Now we are at a point where I want to know, in this pandemic, lots of people either have lost their jobs or have had to take pay cuts or are confused what next to do. Today, I want us to delve into, first of all, tell us what you do now, the various things you do, and then can you share with us, right, some principles that we can engage in order to generate multiple streams of income? What really even is multiple streams of income, right? And if you can just explain to us what principles that you have adopted, or what principles that you have learned that myself and my viewers can also learn from you and apply in our lives in order to generate multiple streams of income.
So currently, I do a lot of things. Um, I'm the marketing manager for Kengel's group of hospitals. That's
Mhm.
3 different hospitals fused under one umbrella
Okay.
and at different locations. Aside that, I manage and own Nelvics Business Dialogues.
Mm.
It's an online business, and what I do is I work with startups. I motivate them to become business owners, and then
Wow.
I also train them with skills,
Mm.
and then I mentor them into achieving their aim. Then we produce the Nelvics Sobolo tea bag
Mm.
on the side. I write, so
Oh,
I
okay.
I I get time to write, and I sell my books mainly on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
I don't publish in Ghana, so I just write and then I get them published in the US, even though I've
Okay.
never been there.
Very soon. Very soon. When this COVID goes down.
So I do that as well. And
Okay.
then for me, my eyes are wide open, so always looking for opportunities. So anytime I see an opportunity, I just jump for it and I make good use of it. So building multiple streams of income. Multiple streams of income simply means that you're not relying on one source of income, or you're
Mm.
not relying on one job to feed you and your family. Now, this is it. In business, everything one is a mistake,
Okay.
because if you have one business, it can fail, and as soon as it failed, you are doomed. If
True.
if you have one source of income, as soon as that ceases, you are doomed. So in business, we do not rely on the number one or the number zero. You should always look forward to relying on the number two and making good use of it. Now, for you to be able to rely on this number two and be able to create that, you should be one, focused,
Mm-hmm.
meaning you should know what you want in life.
Okay.
You know, you having a clear definition of what you know or what you want in life is very, very important. But the very first way to know what you want in life is why you want what you want in life.
Mm.
So, what is your why? Your big why should motivate you to know what you want in life. So, me, for example, looking at all the struggles I've been through in life, I wouldn't want to go through those struggles till I leave the surface of the earth. And
Mm.
that is my why.
Okay.
And that why pushes me to be focused.
Mm.
And because I am very focused, I am very determined. I am determined that I have to make good use of every opportunity that comes my way to be able to satisfy my why. All right.
Mm.
And because of that, I am always ready to start small. A lot of people refuse to get started just because they do not want to start small. They are looking forward to, as soon as you make mention of a business, they are looking forward to starting with a shop,
Mm.
starting with a lot of goods packed in there, and starting with people they can pay,
Mm.
employees. I was talking to someone about starting a production firm, and the person was like, I have to go and get a land, build a factory, and get machineries. And I'm like, your dreams are too big. And I'm sorry, you can't start that way. So a
Mm.
lot of people refuse to start small. But
Mm.
if you want to build multiple streams of income, you should be ready to start small.
Start small.
Now, you made mention of um, coronavirus pandemic
Mm-hmm.
putting a lot of people out of jobs and
Mm-hmm.
getting a lot of people stressed and all that. Prince, it would interest you. 2020 is the best year I've ever experienced in my life.
Wow.
In my 32 years of living on the surface of this earth,
Mm-hmm.
2020 is the best of all.
Wow.
Because in 2020, there came a holy time called lockdown.
Mm.
And in that time, nobody was giving me pressure. My boss will not call me and say, come to the office, come and do this, come and do that, come and do this, come and do that. And my customers, as in my physical customers, obi atu
Mm-hmm.
ne fie adwene ne ho. I draft policies
Exactly.
for companies. So a lot of CEOs used to call me and we have to
Mm.
discuss the policies and all that. Nobody
Okay.
was doing that. So I had a lot of peace of mind to think about the things I'm doing and restructure.
Mm.
And when I did that, it was in 2020 I came up with the Sobolo tea bag.
Oh,
Remember
okay.
I told you that I was doing Sobolo in school.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it was not in a form of a tea bag. I was preparing it as a liquid.
Okay, and then
So
you bottle it or something. And, yeah.
exactly. So during the lockdown, I had to figure it out and turn it into a tea bag. And I
Wow.
also knew that it was a great time to bring that product out. Remember, I told you that you have to be focused. Because I was focused, I was able to identify the problem. I realized that people needed to boost their immune system. And a
Wow.
lot of Ghanaians believed in Sobolo to be the immune booster. And so if I'm able to make this thing easy for people to use, definitely they are going to buy. And so
Wow.
me turning that liquid into a tea bag was a breakthrough for me. People, 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 it's I'm still in the registration process with FDA telling me
Wow.
go and come every blessed day. But I do export my tea to US, UK,
Oh, wow.
France, Germany, Togo, Nigeria. All these countries I've never stepped in, but my product has stepped in.
Wow. Wow.
2020 was the year that the Nelvics community took another turn. I started the community without charging anybody for anything. I just woke up one day and felt like I needed to motivate people to start business. People shouldn't come out of school and say, I don't have a job to do, and then they go hungry. And it was frustrating for me to keep hearing such stories. And I visit a lot of companies because of the hospital marketing. And a lot you realize a lot of these startups were having a lot of challenges with marketing. Their marketing strategies were wrong. And so I just woke up one day, created a WhatsApp group, invited people into the group, and I used to train them on marketing. So when the community started, it was called Nelvics Marketing Consults.
Oh, okay.
So when I was
Okay.
about registering, it's now officially registered. And when I was
Okay.
registering with Registrar General's department, I realized that I couldn't use that name. So I had to change the name to Nelvics Business Dialogues.
Oh,
So it
okay. Okay.
started as just a passion. So I never charged anybody for anything. But in 2020, I started creating online courses. And when I created the online courses, people already knew what I was capable of giving them. And so they were willing to pay me to attend my online classes. And to date, I do online classes, I do mentorships, I do challenges, and all these things people do pay me for.
Wow.
So
Wow.
2020 was my year of breakthrough
Wow.
financially. But it's
Wow.
all because I'm focused. I have an eagle eye so that I can see opportunity as soon as I see it. Let me share a funny story. I visited a friend and she paid a chef from one of the big restaurants to come teach her how to process meat so that she could prepare the meat and sell.
Okay.
So I went to her and then we had to go for a meeting. And I was asking questions. And she was like, and I'm not the bad day. Like, oh, I just want to know, Prince, it would interest you that I organized an online class and I called it Meet to Cash. Meet to Cash.
Wow.
And in the Meet to Cash class, which was just an idea I saw in my friend's house, and per the questions I asked the chef, the recipes he gave me, I came back home, tried those recipes, added my own secret ingredients, and then I went put a course together and trained people with that course, Meet to Cash.
Wow.
Should I tell you how much I made?
Tell me, I'm interested. This one here.
I made 6,000 Ghana cedis
Are you
from
serious?
Meet to Cash. And
Are you
it was
serious?
just, I'm sure that my friend who even paid the chef to come
Wow.
and teach her has not yet made that amount of money from what she learned from the chef.
Amazing.
So that is
Wow.
how, so that's just an example of me saying that you should be focused, you should have an eagle eye, but before you can do that, you should know what you are looking for. And as soon as you are able to identify that, you'll be able to create multiple streams of income easily. But it comes with hard work and you being ready to sacrifice.
And Akua, what I normally get is that I mean this is amazing because what the questions I normally get is that I meet people who are really, let's say, eager to start a business or to explore multiple streams of income. But the key bottleneck that I see, and based on the questions I get, is that how do how does one identify even an opportunity in the first place? Like this example you gave with your friend. Look, I can bet that if we get 100 people in the same scenario, they will just go with your friend and then leave. But you were able to specifically ask the relevant questions and you saw an opportunity in that and made that amount of money by creating this course. So I think, can you share with us, right? Is there a way, is there a way, a secret sauce, a process of how the ordinary person is able to identify an opportunity and not just gloss over it?
Okay, so the very first thing I'll say is in this year of technology, in this day and age, where you have social media, where you have internet, you shouldn't have a smartphone and go hungry. Your very first source of creating multiple streams of income is your smartphone. I always tell people that I use the cheapest brand of a smartphone. I always buy Techno. And
Wow.
I have never bought an iPhone and I don't think I'll ever buy one. But I make every month at least, I make close to 3,000 cedis from my smartphone.
Wow. Wow.
Yes. So if you have a smartphone in this day and age, you shouldn't go hungry. But
Wow.
the very first way to know what to do is to identify what you are passionate about. For me, Akua, I love talking. But maybe for you, you don't like talking. But there is definitely something you like to do. Mostly, I hear people say, I don't know what I like to do. And I tell them that even if it is food you know how to eat, which everybody eats anyway, you can make money out of that on social media.
Exactly.
Let me give you an example. You like food. It simply means that you know a lot of recipes. Go onto YouTube and check the number of channels that teach cooking recipes. YouTube pays them for people viewing them, and that is an extra income. Just put together all the recipes you know. You don't even worry yourself writing a recipe book, okay? Just take pictures of beautiful African cuisines and put together a photo book of food, different foods in a photo book, and upload it onto Amazon.
Yeah.
You are making passive income. Prince is here interviewing people on weekends. He could have been in bed sleeping, but he's just talking, he's just having a conversation with Akua. He's going to upload this conversation on YouTube. And if he gets a lot of viewers, YouTube is going to pay him.
Yeah.
And through these people he interviews, very soon he is likely to get people to come sponsor it.
Yeah.
And when he gets to that level, that's another source of income.
Yeah.
So you creating multiple streams of income simply starts with you identifying what you love to do and get that started. Don't get it started with the intention of I want to make money. But as you get it started, the way nature is, it will definitely grow. And I always tell people that the best place to get it started is on the internet, because that is the only place you have a level ground where you can rub shoulders with even the Mac Browns, the Ekufuados, all the big people. You can rub shoulders with them on social media. Nobody is above anybody on social media. As soon as people start noticing you for what you do on social media, your multiple streams of income begins, because one growth leads to another growth, and that other growth leads to another door, to another door, to another door, to another door, to another door. The only important thing is open your eyes so that when the door is opening, you don't keep shutting them down.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I mean, this is I mean, extremely important, because I think 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, I did a live video where I talked to people about their passion. That what there are certain things that you are so passionate about that you don't even struggle to do them. Those are indicators, to let you know that, look, this is something you should pick up, and it's going to generate you some income along the line. For example, you made a very profound statement here. I like to read a lot about, a lot of things. And last year I came across, do you know that in 2020, the highest paid YouTuber is actually a 9-year-old boy? Yes. He made millions of dollars. Like, the highest paid YouTuber is 9 years. You know what he does? He just unboxes toys. So his parents buy him toys, and then there's a camera on him opening the toy up. He just does unboxing and then playing with the toys. That's it. And people watch, millions of views. I checked out his channel. He gets 10 million views, 200 million views, 100 million views. Can you imagine? Right? And if you think about it, like you rightly said, if you think about it, if you have a smartphone and you have internet, there's no excuse. I think for me, let me recap the principles that you've shared with us so far. So if you're watching, this is People Who Inspire. We are talking with Akua Sefakor, who is a very, very, very astute entrepreneur. I mean, her whole life is indicative of the fact that she was born to do this. She shared with us these principles of multiple streams of income. Number one, she said, be focused, right? Don't allow distractions, to come your way. Don't be focused. Know what you want, and knowing what you want is critical. But the next principle she said is that find out the why. Why do you want what you want, right? So it's not just enough to say that I want to earn $1 million, but why? What is the motive, right, behind that aspiration that you have? And she said that all this should culminate into determination. Determination means that you don't give up, right? You're determined, even when challenges arise, even when issues arise, you're determined, to get to that goal which you are trying to focus on. And the last principle that I wrote down, she shared, which is so profound, is start small, right? So I remember some years back, Albert Okran said that you need to start local but think global, right? So start small. And that's exactly what Akua said. Starting small does not necessarily mean that let's go of the big dreams, no. But you need to understand the reality of starting with what you have. You have a smartphone, start recording yourself, start a blog, start a vlog, start a YouTube channel, right? Start, recording. If it's food that you want, like Akua mentioned, if you're a foodie, right? Start recording the local dishes. There are not enough local dishes being represented on YouTube, for example, right? Could be a niche market that you could identify and target, to make, create some content along those lines. So these are very important principles. I've written them down myself, and definitely I'm going to apply these principles. Akua, to wrap up, since our time is up, right, can you tell my viewers, right, for example, how they can be part of the Nelvics community, right? So first, I want you to tell us your final words, but also how do they engage you? How do they be part of the Nelvics Business Dialogues, for example, or the community? If some of the people who are watching are students, some of them are workers, some of them are entrepreneurs, others are working in a regular job. How do they become part of this community that you are creating, so that they can also benefit from the knowledge and experiences that you share with the community? Can you hear me, Akua? Can you hear me?
All right, so
Hello?
Nelvics Business Dialogues is on Facebook. So we have yes, I can. Can you hear me too?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Can you hear me too?
Yeah.
Okay, so On Facebook, we have a Facebook group called Business Dialogues with Akua Sefakor. Business Dialogues with Akua Sefakor. So you can join the Facebook group where, because I started from WhatsApp, currently I have 9 WhatsApp groups and I manage all of that. So I'm sure that when you join the Facebook group, you can get a link into the WhatsApp group. But if you want to reach me on phone, Prince, am I permitted to
Yes,
give
yes,
my
yes,
phone
please.
number out?
Yes, yes, please. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So if you want to reach me on phone, it's 0240, it's zero
Mm-hmm.
two four zero 735496. So 0240 735496. And my email address is nelvics12@gmail. Nelvics12@gmail. So you can join the Facebook community, you can call my phone, you can send me an email, and I would add you to our community or any way you want us to relate.
Okay, okay. So I'm going to share the contact information on the screen right now. So if you're watching and you want to be part of the community that Akua is building, so on Facebook, Business Dialogues with Akua Sefakor, and then the mobile is 0240735496, and email is nelvics12@gmail.com. So I'm going to share this on the screen now, so that if you want to get in touch with Akua, if you want to, you want her support, you want her perspectives on whatever you're doing, if you need some motivation, or you want to be part of the community, being part of the community is critical, because then you learn from the experiences of other people, and then you are able to kind of apply those principles to yourself in order to succeed. So what would be your final words to my viewers who have heard your story, who have learned these principles from you, how to generate multiple streams of income? What would be your final words for us to wrap up this episode?
Okay, so all I would want to say is whatever you are going through in life today, no matter how difficult you think your life situation is today, just know that it's preparing you for the future you are looking forward to. Because whatever happens in your present has a direct link to whatever happens in your future. So the hardships you are going through today are what are those very hardships are those things that are going to give you the strength, give you the motivation, give you the zeal to face tomorrow, which is the future. So take all the positives that you would find in these hardships today and use those positives as your motivation to get that better future you are looking forward to get tomorrow.
Mm, mm. Thank you very much. There was one question here that I saw
Pena.
just now. Someone asked that, were you not scared? So this is okay. So this is from my wife. She says that, were you not scared when he asked you to sit in the car? Some of us would have avoided even going on that errand because of the advice we're giving of strangers. I mean, I mean, it's a question whether, I mean, were you not scared when he said, okay, come and I want to go to see your mom or something like that.
Okay,
Were you?
so that was a village. You know
Ah,
that village life is a bit different from
yeah.
city life. Yeah. So and sometimes I think that God God puts certain things in place, and
Mm, mm,
it actually it never crossed my mind. It
mm.
never. And
Yeah.
I sit down today and I see that it was for a good purpose.
Yes, yes, you're right, and thank you for that. So, Kriya, I want to thank you for really sharing a part of your life with us. Like you said, I mean, there's a host of stories, that you could have shared, but you decided to share a bit of yourself and of your life with us. And I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful to you Thank you so much for being part of People Who Inspire. And for those of you who stayed tuned, and for those of you who are going to watch this later, thank you for spending the time to being part of this wonderful journey. And I wish you all a very great weekend. And Akua, I wish you and your husband and your family, everyone at home, a great weekend as well. Thank you all. And I'll come your way with another episode of People Who Inspire next week. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.